zeggen, vader. Two cancelled.
Ja, van Rabban Jacobs.
Ja, en Stiefel. Oké, normaal.
Stiefel also, okay.
Ja.
But Rabban Jacob gives 1 or 2 elke week?
1.
Okay, so let's go to the Shiva. Okay, very good. Okay, so we're going to discuss a few interesting things today. A few interesting halachot, something on tefillah, something on tefillin, and we also want to learn our Mishnah and Baba Kama and our Gemara. So let's begin with something very interesting. A few days ago, I was someone asked me interessante halacha. You might have think it's a simple question or a stupid question, but the question was like this. Now, because of Corona, some minyanim are outside because it's you don't want to have an inside. So, like Mr. Jacobs, we go sometimes to Mr. Hanan Herzberg, and we have a minyan outside. Now in the winter, it's very cold, cold. So, someone by Shachris asked me a few days ago. He's wearing a hoodie, where you put over here to keep yourself warm. So by Shachris, he wants to put his hoodie over his tefillin shalosh because he's cold. And if you put the hoodie only like this, behind, then it's not so warm. Over the whole head, like this, tot here, till his ocha, his nose, then his heel warm. And the tefillin shalosh is beneder, is under the, like this, so. Is under the hoodie. So that's what he wanted to do. So it sounds like, why not? Lama lo? Waarom niet? So I'm asking you, wat denk jij?
Ik denk niet dat het mag. Je moet tefillin toch zien.
En tefillin shel yad? En in je hand?
Oké, ja. Dus, ja, oké. Ja, sorry. Ja.
Tefillin yad niemand ziet.
Ziet niet meer, nee.
Tefillin yad is usually it's under or this in your jacket, in your coat.
Yeah.
But tefillin shalosh. But you're right. Interesting halacha. So I told the guy he should leave it open. Lamas, I looked up afterwards and I noticed that there's an interesting pasuk. The pasuk says, I can't remember what the pasuk is. I can check it up again. The pasuk says, "V'rou kol amei haaretz, Klal Yisrael saw ki shem Hashem nikra lecho." Klal Yisrael saw that the name of our HaKadosh Baruch Hu is written on it. So v'rou kol amei haaretz, that Klal Yisrael sees, is referring to the tefillin shel rosh. That if you have tefillin and the Shem Hashem, the name of Hashem is on it, we have a shein on the outside, or it's referring to the parasha.
No, you have only on the here.
Exactly, on the tefillin shidal you don't see. On the tefillin shel rosh, we have a shein with the shein, dri okia, fi okia, magni out. But the Shem Hashem is written on the tefillin shel rosh. The pasuk says, "V'rou kol amei haaretz ki Shem Hashem nikro alecho." Klal Yisrael can see the name of Hashem on your tefillin. So if your tefillin are under your hat, under your balaclava, under your thing, then you haven't got v'rou kol amei haaretz ki Shem Hashem nikro alecho. It's covered. You don't see it. He's eating it. So therefore, halacha, that's why it's better to keep it open and not to put it under, because we want to be able to see the Shem Hashem. Now, if your tefillin are going to...
Here, put your talis further till here.
Oh, very good. That's a very good vraag.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's a very good vraag. So, you notice some people, let's call it by some Hasidim or by some Rebbes, they take the talis and they go all the way over. And the whole head is covered and you can't see anything. So, according to this, it could be a problem. It could be an issue. Now, there's two things. Number one is, how covered is it? If you have something which is a hoodie, which is properly over, then no one can see it. If it's your talis over, it's less on your tefillin. But because of v'rou kol amei haaretz ki Shem Hashem nikro lecho, because of this pasuk, people are makbid that the tefillin, the talis, goes tot the tefillin shalosh, not over like when you put on the talis to make a bracha. When you make a talis to make a bracha, it goes all the way over, over your hoofd, and you macht like this, and you brochel is atif batzitzis. But when you're wearing your talis for the rest of davening, then alein tot the tefillin sherosh. So if someone looks at you, he doesn't see the talis, he sees your tefillin. So even if your talis goes till the tefillin sherosh, but if your talis doesn't go all the way over your head, you still see your tefillin. As long as if someone's looking at you, he sees your tefillin sherosh, that's considered enough to be v'ro kol am ha'oretz kishem Hashem nikro lecho. You can see the tefillin. So if you can see the tefillin, then the Maisa is much better. So sometimes in Corona you have lots of different interesting halachic fragen when it comes to davening. But this was a new one. I think it's very interesting to know that if your tefillin are going to get dirty, damaged, wet, rain, wind, okay, then it's you don't have to make your tefillin possible for this. Of course, your tefillin have to be stayed kosher. So if you get it's raining outside, then of course you should cover your tefillin. But only if you want to be beit yivam. But if you want to still be mekayim, the best way to put on tefillin, then you have a pasuk who tells you v'ro. Now v'ro kurami oretz is only like you say by tefillin sherosh. On tefillin shel yad, there's no v'ro kurami. We haven't even got the Shem Hashem on the Bauta Kant from the tefillin shel yad. Okay, so that's one interesting halacha to know about the tefillin shel rosh, about covering up, because we have a pasuk that you're supposed to see your tefillin shel rosh. Now, there is a interesting halacha which is also good to know. I was learning a few weeks ago in a minyan, and then the Sefer Torah, we realized in the middle was possible. In the middle of lining, the Sefer Torah is possible. So, ma halacha? What's the halacha to do when you realize the Sefer Torah is possible? What can you do? You have it once? Mr. Jacobs, you are a gabber.
Take another one.
I'm sure gabber has been through everything.
Take another one.
You take another one. Okay, so you're middle of lining, you're up to Shlishi.
And put on the mappa outside.
Oh. Yeah, so put them up outside.
Outside over the mantle.
On the buitenkant, because you know it's
on the buitenkant.
Yeah. Okay, but now you take the tweede Sefer Torah, and the tweede Sefer Torah.
And it's scheurt, yeah, I know.
It's what?
Het hakt bij het scheurt.
Ja. Oké, nee, maar vraag is zo. Je neemt de tweede Sefer Torah. Vanaf waar moet je beginnen? Van het begin, nog een keer, of ga door where you're holding?
No.
So you're leaning tot Sheni, tot Shlishi, whatever, and you have a parsha, and you're up to Shlishi. Shlishi, you realize the head is Psul. So that Psul from the Sefer Torah was there already before you started leaning today. It was there.
But if you stop middle in the parsha, then you have to, I think, to line the whole parsha.
So did it ever happen to you as a gabber for 20 years? How many years were you gabber for?
Long.
You're saying
we never had it. No.
Never had it?
I can't remember. Once. I think once.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah, I have it once. But I remember we take another Sefer Torah and...
you put the mantle on the buitenkant.
Map on the buitenkant.
Okay, but halacha is like this. If a Sefer Torah is possible, you continue leaning. You name it andere Sefer Torah, like you say. You take it for the Sefer Torah. But you don't go back and lean again what you did. At Sefer Torah, until you know it's possible, it's kosher. Thought that you waited the possible is kosher. So even if you see now a psul, okay, now I have to stop. I have to bring a new Sefer Torah. And I have to lean from where you're up to. From where you've been new. Je hoeft niet om nog een keer de hele parasha lenen. Because if you have to do nog een keer de parasha, then what about last week's parasha? 2 weeks ago also. Yotze. So the halacha is it's something which has a chezkas kosher, which means that until we know it's possible, it's kosher. So if you learn from a Sefer Torah which had the chezkas kosher, it means we take on its kosher, then it's your kriyas HaTorah is good. If now you see a psul, then fanaf new is it possible? From now it's possible. So now you can't go anymore and make a new laning. So what we had a few weeks ago, we had a Sefer Torah, and then we realized the Sefer Torah was possible, and we were up to, by Shabbos Mincha, we were up to Levi. So it wasn't Sheni, Shlishi, Revi, Chamishi, it was Alein Shabbos Mincha, Dri Aliyahs. So the Kohen realized that middle of the Aliyah, that hey, there's a Psum. Okay, so you can't do any more Levi and Yisrael, because you can't make a bracha on a Sefer Torah Psul. You can lein, lama lo, warum nicht? You can
They
lein.
also take a chumash.
You can also take a chumash, ja.
Yeah, it's the same.
Same thing. Het is geen verschil tussen het Postel Sefer Torah en een chumash. Maar de Bircha Satera, Baruch Hu es Hashem Anvarach, we don't make a chumash, we only make a kosher Sefer Torah.
Yeah, that kind of.
That got it. So now, the problem was that we took an andere Sefer Torah, and under Sefer Torah was the Tfira. Tfira is where you...
Waar het ingenaaid is.
Ingenaaid is, yeah. So the ingenaaid between the two pieces of cloth. That was also very, very, very open. If that's very, very open, then you have a question, how much open makes it possible? Hoeveel moet het 100% ingenaaid zijn? So what think jij? I thought if it's a little bit open, it's still a problem. It's a problem. But Lamaisa, if it's as long as it is connected, then it's still going to be kosher. It doesn't have to be 100% connected. So Lamaisa, what we had, we took from one postel Sefer Torah to another Sefer Torah, which was Chatzi postel. Maar Chatzi postel is...
It's possible, yeah.
Is postel. Maar what's interesting to know with the Sefer Torah, and that is that even though Lamaisa, if I find out my tefillin were posel today, then I have to put on tefillin again, because I didn't put on the kosher pair of tefillin. But by Sefer Torah, it's interesting halacha. By Sefer Torah, when you're leaning from a Sefer Torah and it's got the cheskas kosher, if I do a lulav, yeah, and I realize I did my lulav from a posel lulav, am I yotzei my mitzvah? You had good intention, but you didn't do your mitzvah. You should take a kosher lulav. If I laned, then when you're laning, it's from a Sefer Torah's din kosher until you know that it's possible. Because a Sefer Torah was written b'chezkes kashrus. If it's written b'chezkes kashrus, then it's going to be kosher unless you know it's possible. If I have a lulav and I think it's kosher, but I find that after it's possible, you're not done your mitzvah, or you did it on possible. But only because Sefer Torah was written in a good way, it's kosher until you know it's possible. Okay. I have noch een kleine interessante ding, and then we can go to our Baba Kama. Okay. I was learning an interessante halacha benogea to Hilchos Shema. Yeah. We say we have a mitzvah to say Krishma. Hoeveel keer per dag?
3.
Hoeveel?
3?
Nee, Krishma alleen 2 keer per dag.
Oh, Krishma. Oh, sorry.
Krishma. Krishma is alleen 2 keer per dag.
Krishma is only 2.
If
Sorry.
you want, als je wil, kan je 100 keer zeggen.
Ja, je kan 100 keer zeggen.
150 ook. Gratis. Je kunt de hele dag Krishma in Tehillim zeggen.
Ja.
No problem. Shemona Esra is 3 keer per dag. No problem. En Shemona Esra is alleen geen chiyuv. Het is met tefillah, de rabbanon. Maar de mitzvah van Krishma is more chiyuv. The Torah says, when you go to sleep and when you get up. It means in the avond and in the morning. En de mitzvah 2 keer per dag, mitzvah Krishma te zeggen. Okay. In welke parsha in de Torah is Krishma?
Veschanon.
Veschanon. And that's Shema Vo'ahavto. In welke parsha is Vo'oyo? In Vo'ekev.
The next one.
Next one. Veschanon Ekev. So in the Torah it says Shema Vo'ahavto and Vo'oyo. In both parshas it says B'shachcho v'kemecho. So 2 keer per dag. Says the Torah, say these parshas. Okay. Now I have a question. I was learning it a few weeks ago and I spent time looking into it. Very interesting. We say Shema, Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And then we say Baruch Shem. Baruch Shem, Kvoid Machusay Lo'olam Voed. Now, in the Torah, does it say Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Eloheinu Voed? No.
No.
Deze pasuk van Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Eloheinu Voed staat niet in the Torah. And the whole Torah from Bereshit to the Bracha, it does not say Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Eloheinu Voed. Where does Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Eloheinu Voed come from? Where started? We say it every day. We say it twice a day. B'shachov K'mecho Shema Baruch Shem V'ahavto and V'hoyo. Ma'od Yafeh, very nice. But Baruch Shem, and more than that, we say Baruch Shem. I remember when I was in school, I don't know, Mr. Yaakov, which school did you go to as a child? Here in Amsterdam? What school did you go to?
I was in The Hague. I don't know. I don't live here.
What? No, at The Hague. So you went to school in The Hague as a kid?
Yes.
Okay. So now everyone knows, whenever they're taught to say Shema, they say Shema, and then Baruch Shem is said quietly. Belachash, quiet.
Only on Yom Kippur.
Only Yom Kippur.
Oh, Behalva Yom Kippur. Very good. Behalva Yom Kippur. So now everyone knows. Baruch Shem. If you look in the Siddur from Krishma El Kedach, it says next to Baruch Shem, it starts Belachash.
Klein.
Right. Belachash is still. So it's written small and it says still. On Yom Kippur, start next to Baruch Shem, start B'koil Rom. Hard. Say it loud. Okay. Why is Baruch Shem El Kedach still? That's the only thing that we know that you say quiet. Whatever it is in Tefillah that we say quiet. Lachash means quiet, say it still. Baruch Shem. What's the reason? What's the reason? Warum Shema is loud, Baruch Shem is still, and V'ahavto is loud. Anyone thought about it? Anyone knows the reason? What is the reason for this? What is the reason that Baruch Shem is still? You ever thought about it? I found, I'll tell you the truth, until not so long ago, I knew that on Yom Kippur, why do we say loud? Because we are like Malachim. Okay, Elchut, Malachim. So on Yom Kippur we're Malachim, and Malachim we say loud. Baruch Shem. Why do Malachim say Baruch Shem loud? So I'll tell you, very interesting. Hell, interessant. I was looking into this. Why did I look into it? Because a few weeks ago with Parshas Vayechi. Parshas Vayechi, Yaakov calls his sons, his Bonov, and he wants to tell them the Achris Hayomim, Vanir the Kates, Vanir the Gula is. And Yaakov, Rashi says in the Pasuk, that Yaakov did not tell his children when the Gula is going to come, because Rashi explains, Bikesh Yaakov legalos is Kates. Yaakov wanted to tell his children when the Kates, the Gula, when the Mashiach comes, V'nistalko mimeno shchina. The shchina went away from Yaakov Avinu. He didn't have the koyach, he didn't have the shchina to be able to say when the Kates is going to come. And now Yaakov thought to himself, hey, why did the shchina go away? Perhaps there's something wrong with me. Like my Zayda, my grandfather, my Opa, Avram Avinu, he had a son who was not good. The chizyon from Avram was not good. Yishmael. Yitzchok had a son also not good. Who is that? Esav. Esav. Says Yaakov, hey, maybe I also have a child who's not good. And that's why the Shekhinah went away. My grandfather, my Opa, had a son not good. My father, Yitzchok, had a son not good. I thought, says Yaakov, that I had 12 good Shvotim. Maybe one of mine is going to be bad like Shimon and like Esau. And that's why the Shekhinah went away. And that's why I come in Megal of the Kates. Says the Gemara that the children of Yaakov Avinu said to their father, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Kishem, just like Ein Belibcho Elo Echad, you only have one Hashem. Ein Belibenu Elo Echad, we have only one. You believe in one Hashem. All of us also only believe in one Hashem. So the children of Yaakov said to his father, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. You believe in one God. All of us also only believe in one Hashem. That means there's nothing wrong with your children. Says the Gemara, what did Yaakov say back to him, to the children? Says the Gemara, Yaakov said back to his children, Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchusai La'olam Void. Gebenched is HaKadosh Baruch Hu forever and ever. Now, this is, I think, the first time we see that any of the others or anyone in the Torah, it's not written in the Torah, but anyone said Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchusai La'olam Void. Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't see anywhere. There's no pasuk, geen pasuk in the Hele Torah, Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchusai La'olam Void. Doesn't exist. Ein kazeh davar. Doesn't it? If you look in the Torah, in Parshas V'eschanon, start Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, V'ohavto. Does not say Baruch Shem. Says the Gemara, Yaakov Avinu said Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchusai La'olam Void after his children said Shema Yisrael. Frag the Gemara has an interessante kasha. What should we do when we say Shema every day? Should we say Shema or should we not say Shema? I mean, should we say Baruch Shem or not? Moshe Rabbeinu never said Baruch Shem, so maybe we also shouldn't say Baruch Shem. But Yaakov Avinu did say Baruch Shem, so maybe we should say. So, what then, Kay? What do you think? What would you answer if I asked you? If I asked you, who should we go like? We are stuck between two giants, between two great people, one called Moshe Rabbeinu and one called Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu said Baruch Shem, and Moshe Rabbeinu did not say Baruch Shem. And now we have a mitzvah to say Shema. Should we say Baruch Shem after Shema? What would you say? Should we go like Moshe or should we go like Yaakov? Moshe did not say, Yaakov did say. So what would you say?
It's written.
You're stuck between, it's a bit like a child who's stuck between his father and his mother, right? His father says one thing, his mother says another thing.
So we don't know.
We don't know what to do, right?
Yes, so that's why we say it stiekem.
Oh, says the Gemara, exactly like you say. Elchud. Says the Gemara, I don't know whether yes to say Baruch Shem or not to say Baruch Shem. Moshe Rabbeinu did not say Baruch Shem. Yaakov Avinu did say Baruch Shem. Says the Gemara, I have an Elchud today. It sounds like an idea, like someone else, that's not so for the Gemara. Says the Gemara, came an Elchud today. Say it quietly. It sounds a bit like a joke, you know? The Gemara is not sure what to do. Say it or don't say it. So the Gemara say it quietly, which is something which we actually need to understand. We're not going to go through the whole interesting thing, but we have to think to ourselves. Yes, say it or not say it. So the Gemara say it quietly. Now, I always make a joke because I tell my children when they wash, let's say, for the week or for Shabbos, before they eat the challah, bread, or any bracha, before the bracha, between the bracha and the eating, or between Antilas Yadayim and Amoitzi, you're not supposed to make a hefsek. You're not supposed to speak in between. And sometimes they like to talk quietly. I say to them, if you talk quietly, it's the same as talking. Quietly doesn't make a difference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you're not allowed to be mafsik, then you're not allowed to be mafsik. What's the difference if you're talking quietly or talking loud? So we have to understand. Says Gemara, you know what? Say it quietly. So what's if you say it quietly, then what? Then Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't hear? And if you say it loud, then Moshe Rabbeinu does hear? That's one question. And then another question is, okay, very nice, we say it quietly, but on Yom Kippur, we said that we say it loud. On Yom Kippur, you say Baruch Shem K'mach Tzulelom Moed, hard. Say it loud. Now, if we're not sure yes to say or not to say, because Moshe Rabbeinu did not say and Yaakov did say, so the whole year we say it quietly. So why is this a reida that Yom Kippur we are malachim, so you can say it loud? Why say it loud? Because we're malachim. If we say it quietly because we're not sure Moshe Rabbeinu of Yaakov wel gezegd and Moshe niet gezegd, what's maakt niet uit Yom Kippur or El Kedach van Niyah? You hear what I'm asking? Okay, so I'm asking you, Mr. Jacobs, should we go to our Gemara or should we continue with this? Because it's a very, very interesting topic, which we can go on for another half an hour. But I'll leave it to you to decide whether we continue with that topic or whether we go to our Gemara, our Mishnah in Baba Kama, Daf Yutes. To me, I'm okay either way. Wat denk jij?
Laat de rest beslissen. Ik wil niet ik denk dat we de Gemara moeten, maar goed, laat de rest beslissen.
Finish off? Finish off deze topic?
Ja.
Oké, we weten het nu.
It's to you.
No, because I don't want to. I want to keep to what I'm supposed to do. I am happy. I'm happy either. If me either learning the Mishnah, which is the damages from the animal, which is a new Mishnah we can see today, or we can continue with this. But if we continue with Baruch Shem, then we can go on for another half an hour. But I want to decide now if we want to go for another half an hour this or do tomorrow. I think.
Yes, continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised that it's possible to go on another half an hour with it. So I'm go on. I'm looking forward.
Okay. Because I said there's another half an hour, it sounds like it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's the fact.
Okay, I'll tell you why this topic is very interesting. I only started looking at it a few weeks ago and I spent a long time on it. It's because it's something that so many people do every day in their life, 365 days a year, twice a day. And many people, and me myself, until not so long ago, I didn't even know what I was doing or why I was doing it. What I knew is the Siddur says, Belachash, or on Yom Kippur, the Siddur says, B'Kol Ram. Okay, so we do what we are supposed to do. But whatever we do always has an understanding, and always has a reason and a meaning behind it. And sometimes we know the reason, sometimes we don't, sometimes we understand, and sometimes we don't understand. But there always is an explanation somewhere. So, again, just to get clear, we're asking two questions. Question number one, what does it mean to say belachash? Say it quietly. And number two is, if the reason why we say it quietly is because we are not sure whether to listen to Moshe Rabbeinu and not say Baruch Shem, or whether to go like Yaakov Avinu and say Baruch Shem, and that's why we say it quietly. What does it help on Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur, we say it loud. Now, the whole reason why we say it quietly is because we're not sure what to do. So why Yom Kippur does it change? Hey, we go like Yaakov Avinu. I would say Moshe Rabbeinu was our Rebbe. So on Yom Kippur, we go completely like Moshe Rabbeinu, and we don't say it at all. But on Yom Kippur, we do the opposite. We say it loud. It's as if Yaakov is right. So why is Yaakov right on Yom Kippur? And the rest of the year, Yaakov, we're not sure if he's right. Does everyone hear the question? Okay, so before we explain exactly what's going on over here, it's very important to mention a medrash. The medrash says a very interesting medrash, and some of you might know this, but I'll tell you the medrash like this. The medrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu, we know, went up to Shemayim. Moshe Rabbeinu was the only person who had a direct conversation, discussion with Rebbeinu Shlomo, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe Rabbeinu heard Malachim talking. Moshe Rabbeinu heard how Malachim in Shemayim, a Malach gives Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we say, Kodesh, 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 Hashem Yisborach Ha'aretz K'voidoi. These are discussions between V'ho'ifanim v'chayos HaKodesh. The Malachim in Shemayim have a way that they talk. Kodesh, 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 Hashem Tzvokos Melech Roetz Kvoidoi, Baruch Shem Kol Malchus Le'olam Voed. Where he's saying, davening, these are Lashonos that Malachim are praising to our Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yaakov, Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shomayim, and he heard, says the Medrash, Malachim giving shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he heard them saying, Baruch, Shem, Kvoid, Malchusay, Lo'elam Voed. Moshe Rabbeinu heard the Malachim saying a shvach, a praise. Shira is praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Lashon of Baruch, Shem, Kvoid, Malchusay, Lo'elam Voed. Now Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to use the same Lashon of Shvach as Malachim. Okay, someone had to leave now? No problem. Who's Noy Chiyun? Okay. Who's Noy Chiyun? One has to leave? Thank you very much. Okay, whoever
I
it is.
don't know, but go on. It's
Yeah.
interested what you are telling us.
Okay. No, I just wanted to. So things that is. So Moshe Rabbeinu heard the Malachim saying Shvach HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Lashon of Baruch Shem K'vam Achus Le'olam Voed. Now Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and he says, I don't want to give Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the same level as Malachim do. I can't do that. I'm not on the level of a Malach. A Malach has his Lashonos of giving Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I, Moshe Rabbeinu, am not on that level to give Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the same as a Malach. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, I can't give Lashonos of Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Le'olam Voed. I can give my own Shvach. I can say what I want to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But to use the Lashon that a Malach used, Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to use it. Okay. So now we see with this medrash that there's a big opening. This might help us to understand Yom Kippur when we are like Malachim. But before we get to Yom Kippur, we have to see, and we have to make this clear, that Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchus Le'olam Voed is brought down in two different places. It's brought down, number one, in the Gemara, when Yaakov Avinu said to his children,
I don't hear anything. The sound, hello. There's something with the sound.
now let's think about these two Baruch Shem K'vam Malchus Le'olam Voed. Is it the same type of meaning in both places, or is it two different things? The thing is like this. If you think about it, when Yaakov said, Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchus Le'olam Voed, why was he saying it? Was he saying it just to give shvach, to give praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Or was he saying it as a response, as an answer to what he heard, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? Yaakov Avinu was, says the Gemara, after he heard his children say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, says Yaakov Avinu, a response to that, it's a tshuva, it's an answer, it's a response. Baruch Shem K'vam Malchus Le'olam Voed. Now, let's put on pause a second. Where else in the year, in our davening, do we see that Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchus Le'olam Voed is a response to the Shem Hashem? Does anyone know? Where in davening, or where in the year, or in the Beis Hamikdash, do we see that if the name of Hashem is mentioned, then we answer back, Baruch Shem K'vam Malchus Le'olam Voed. Anyone know? Anyone have an answer? I'll give you a clue. We mentioned it in davening on Yom Kippur when it comes to the ask Mama. Sorry. Sorry, one second.
Ask them if they know the answer.
No, I'm just giving a share from home. Sorry, Chaim. Anyone know where else we say Baruch Shem Kvem Malchusay Le'olam Voed as a response to the Shem Hashem?
Seamus.
Seamus on when?
Yom Kippur. Kon Niele.
Oh, okay. So that's very interesting. Okay, that's remember that one. By Kol Nidre, we say not by Kol Nidre, by Ne'ilah.
Bij Niele.
And then we say Baruch Shem. And then we say loud or quiet?
Loud.
Then we say loud. Okay. Where else do we say Baruch Shem loud?
No, you have to hear. To ask.
So we have sometimes what's called Yom Kippur Cotton. Yom Kippur Cotton is a small tefillah that people say today by Mincha Erev Rosh Chodesh. It's called Yom Kippur Cotton. It's a small Yom Kippur. People say extra tefillahs. They also, we say Shema Yisrael at the end, and we say also Baruch Shem. And then we also say it loud. I'll tell you another time. It happens to be also on Yom Kippur. When we davening Musaf and we're doing the avoida. Exactly.
Yeah.
So also, what happens over there? The lashon is v'hakoyanim v'ha'am kishayu when they hear Shem HaMeforash, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yoytze Mipi Kohen Gadol, when the Kohanim and the in the time of the Avodah Yom Kippur, when they heard the Kohen Gadol sing the Shem Hashem, says the Machzer, and that's what we say on Yom Kippur in davening, they answered back, Baruch Shem Kvoid Ma'chusre Le'olam Voed. The Kohanim and the rest of the nation of the when they heard the Shem Hashem, Yoytze Mipi Aaron, the Kohen Gadol, when they heard the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu coming out from the mouth of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, then the rest of the Kohanim and the whole they answered back, Baruch Shem Kvem Malchus Le'olam Voed. Okay, so now we see there's two meanings to Baruch Shem Kvem Malchus Le'olam Voed. Baruch Shem Kvem Malchus Le'olam Voed sometimes is a response. It's an answer back to the Shem Hashem. Yaakov Avinu heard his children say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, which is the Shemus of Hashem. Yaakov answered back, Baruch Shem Kvem Malchus Le'olam Voed. The same thing is the Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash. The Kohen Gadol said, the Shem HaMeforash, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Kohen and the rest of the when they heard the Shem Hashem, they answered back, Baruch Shem Kvem Malchus Le'olam Voed. Okay, this is one meaning to Baruch Shem. It's an answer, it's a response to the name of Hashem. By the way, when we say Shema Yisrael Elokeinu Hashem Echad, what are we doing when we say Shema? What mitzvah are we doing when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad? What are we supposed to have in mind? We're supposed to have in mind that we are being mekabel upon ourselves the O Malchus Shemaim. So we are mentioning the name of Hashem, the Koyach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're supposed to have all the meanings behind every Shem Hashem. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. These are all meanings of the koyches, of the powers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we say Shema Yisrael, we are being mekabel upon ourselves all the koyches and all the meanings of the names of Hashem. Okay, so now we have just now mentioned Shema Yisrael. We answer the response to Shema Yisrael is Baruch Shem Kvem Malchus Le'olam Voed. Okay, but we mentioned a medrash, and the medrash says there's another koyach to Baruch Shem. What is that? That is when Moshe Rabbeinu heard the Malachim saying Shemayim, Shvach, praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they gave praise in the lashon of Baruch Shem Gemach Tzedek Laved. So now, is that Baruch Shem of the Malachim in Shemayim a response to Shema Yisrael? No, that Baruch Shem wasn't a response to Shema Yisrael. The Medrash doesn't say that the Malachim said Shema and Baruch Shem. The Malachim gave Shvach. They gave praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the lashon they used was Baruch Shem. So here we see that Baruch Shem can also be a Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in itself, without being a response to Shema Yisrael. Okay, so I hope that's clear so far. Let's make this clear again, and then we can understand a bit more what's going on during the week, and by Yom Kippur Cotton, by Ne'ilah, and on Yom Kippur, and when we say Baruch Shem loud by Shema on Yom Kippur. There are two parts to Baruch Shem. One, like we see by Yaakov Avinu, and in the Beis Hamikdash, when the Kohen Gadol said the name of Hashem, when Yaakov heard his children say Shem Hashem, Shema Yisrael Hashem Hashem Echad, and that is a response, an answer to Shem Hashem is Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Elyon. The name of Hashem should be gebenched. Number two is the Malachim. Malachim give Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Beloshen Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Elyon. That's not a response. That's a Shvach in itself. So now, let's explain everything step by step. We said the Gemara, that the Gemara says, should we say it loud or should we say it quietly? The Gemara said, should we say it or should we not say it? Yaakov did, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't. Says the Gemara, we'll say it quietly. So we're trying to understand this Gemara, and we asked the question, and if we do say it quietly, what does that help us for Yom Kippur? Why in Yom Kippur do we say it loud? If we say it quietly, we say it quietly the whole year. Now let's explain. With everything that we said till now, we can explain very clear what's going on in our life every single day, morning and evening, and Yom Kippur Cotton, and Ne'ilah, and everything else. And that is like this. Let's start with Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur, we said that we are like Malachim. We are like Malachim, and therefore we can say Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Elyon Voed loud. So we ask the question, so what if we are like Malachim? The reason why we said it quietly the whole year round was because we're not sure whether to do like Yaakov, who did say, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't. If we say it quietly the whole year, because we're stuck between Yaakov and Moshe, then in Yom Kippur also we're stuck between Yaakov and Moshe. What changes? And we know, and that's right, and that is because on Yom Kippur, we are like Malachim. The answer is like this. Sorry, 1 second, my child's here. If you want, you can just say hello to my child. This is my this is my baby who's this time. Say hello.
Hello.
She wants to join us here. Okay, let me just put her down.
Okay, that's right. Why not?
Say hello to everyone. Shy? Yeah, she's shy. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's explain this. Very, 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 very interesting. I found this very, very interesting because this is something that is every day of our life, and it's something that I think many people don't really know or understand. And especially when it comes to Yom Kippur, when they say B'Kol Ram, they say it even louder than Shema. And we're going to explain that now also. On Yom Kippur, when the Massechet says that you should say Baruch Shem loud, most people, what they do is they make up for the whole year. That means the whole year they said Baruch Shem quietly, and now the Massechet says that we are like Malachim, and therefore we say loud. They say Baruch Shem, and they say it all loud. Now, why say it louder than normal? Just say it normally. What's the reason to say it louder than normal? People say Baruch Shem louder than the Pasuk Shema on Yom Kippur. Now we're going to explain it. It's very, very interesting, like this. On Yom Kippur, we are like Malachim. We know that because we don't eat, we fast, we don't wear leather, we wear white clothing. In Amsterdam, I think we're a white couple with a white tie. and people wear white talesim, completely white. We feel like a malach on Yom Kippur. If we feel like malachim and we are malachim on Yom Kippur, then we can give the shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu the same way as malachim do, which is what Moshe Rabbeinu heard in Shemayim. Moshe Rabbeinu heard in Shemayim malachim giving shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the lashon of Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed. So we are malachim. The whole year round we are not malachim. So we can say shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu the same way as a malach does. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to do that because sorry, 1 second. Okay, Chaim. Sorry. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't feel on the level of giving shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because he didn't feel like a malach. So I can't say Baruch Shem. I'm not a malach. Malachim say Baruch Shem. On Yom Kippur we are malachim, so we feel we can say Baruch Shem like a malach. When a malach said Baruch Shem, why was he saying Baruch Shem? Not because he was answering Baruch Shem to Shema. He was saying Baruch Shem because Baruch Shem is a shvach in itself. It was praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you're giving shira, when you're singing, when you're praising shvach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is that done quietly or is that done loud? Do it loud. You don't say quietly. If I want to praise my child or whatever it is, someone in the class, someone who anywhere, you don't give praise quietly. You say, you are such a good boy. You are such a... You don't say shvach to a person. If you're calling out someone by an event or whatever it is, and you want to give shvach to someone, you want to give praise, you want to give... Hoe zegt die praise in het Nederlands?
Prezen.
Praise. Oh.
Oh. Ja, ik heb het. Ja.
Okay, if you want to give praise to someone, you don't say it quietly. Shvach is said loud. That is B'Kol Rom on Yom Kippur. Baruch Shem, you say loud because we are malachim. And if we are malachim, then a malach gave shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'loshen in the term of Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed. We can give shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the loshen of Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed. So that Baruch Shem is not just an answer like it is the whole year round. Because we are malachim, we can use the lashon of shvach of Baruch Shem. Shvach is said loud. So now we understand why we want to say b'kol rom, loud Baruch Shem and Yom Kippur, not just not quiet. We say Baruch Shem louder and not to make up for the whole year, because the whole year said it quietly. Now once we can say it loud, we say it loud. No, on Yom Kippur we are malachim. We are malachim, so we can say the lashon of shvach like malachim do, and shvach is said loud. That's why we say Baruch Shem loud on Yom Kippur. The whole year round, when we are not malachim, so therefore we can't use the lashon of malachim like Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to use the lashon of malachim. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't feel on the level of a malach to say shvach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed. So therefore we say Baruch Shem not as shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We say Baruch Shem like Yaakov Avinu did. Yaakov Avinu, when he said Baruch Shem, he wasn't just giving shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was saying Baruch Shem as an answer to Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. When you hear the Shem HaMeforos Yotze Mipi Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, when the Kohen says the name of Hashem, when the children of Yaakov said Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, when they hear the name of Hashem, when the Shem Hashem is mentioned, Yaakov Avinu answered Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed. So we answer Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed as a response to saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Echad. So our Baruch Shem the whole year round is not a shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in itself, like a malach. There's nothing to do malachim, because we're not malachim. We're normal people. So our Baruch Shem is just a simple answer to saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. So therefore says the Gemara, we don't want to make a bizoyan to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu the Meister never said Baruch Shem K'vei Malchus Le'olam V'oed. So therefore we say it quietly in order not to make a bizoyan, to show that we do care the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu never said it, but we still want to say it to answer Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Now, we mentioned before, why when we say Shema to the end of Yom Kippur, or we say by Yom Kippur Cotton, we say Baruch Shem K'mach Chesed Olam V'Oed loud, because that Baruch Shem, first of all, on Yom Kippur, if we are like Malachim, then a whole Yom Kippur we can say Baruch Shem loud, right? And on Yom Kippur Cotton, maybe it's also like a small Yom Kippur, we can say Baruch Shem K'mach Chesed Olam V'Oed loud. But there's something else, and with this we'll finish, and that's very interesting. When the Gemara says that Moshe Rabbeinu never said Baruch Shem K'mach Chesed Olam V'Oed, therefore maybe we shouldn't. That could also mean that if in the Torah it says Shema, and then it says V'ohavto, if we add in a line of Baruch Shem, it's a hefsek. I can't just add in whatever I want. If I say Shema and then V'ohavto and I start saying other Tehillim, I start saying other Psukim, it's a hefsek in Krishma. I can't just, if you look in the Torah Parshas V'schama, like I said before, it says Shema V'ohavto. Just to put in another line, it's a hefsek. Says the Gemara, it's not a hefsek if you say it quietly, which is, kacha kacha. But if you want to understand even more, if I am not saying afterwards V'ohavto, let's say like by Ne'ilah, we say Shema and Baruch Shem. We don't say afterwards V'ohavto. So if I'm not saying V'ohavto, then it's even better to understand. I'm not making a hefsek between Shema and V'ohavto. The reason why I can't add it on wherever I want, because I can't make a hefsek between Shema and V'ohavto, because Moshe Rabbeinu never said Baruch Shem. So if I say a psukim in between, I'm making a hefsek. Masha'enkin, if I'm not saying afterwards V'ohavto, like by Ne'ilah, we're giving another explanation, even more. I'm saying Shema, I say Shema loud, and then I can say Baruch Shem loud. Why not? The only reason why not to say it loud is perhaps because Moshe didn't say it. So if I put in something between Shema and V'ohavto, it's a hefsek. I'm making a break in between words of Moshe Rabbeinu. But if I'm only saying Shema and I'm not saying afterwards V'ohavto, then I'm not making a break because it's not between two things, and therefore I can say it loud. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much.
There's always more to add on to say and more things to think, but that's the, I would say, the basics of the understanding of the Baruch Shem quiet on during the year and loud on Yom Kippur.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
It was
much.
very interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye, everyone. All the best. Call to keep well and keep healthy and keep safe. Call to. Bye bye.
Okay.